Welcome back to the watch list. I'm Ryan Dillon. Yesterday, PharmAla Biotech announced that it has completed its first shipment of MDMA and psilocybin to Cortexa, its 50/50 Australian joint venture with Virtua Health. Here to share the details is CEO Nick Kadysh. Nick, thank you for joining us again.
Thanks, Ryan. Good to be here.
And Nick, can you give our investors a little bit of background about your company?
Yeah, of course. So PharmAla is a company that holds many firsts, but we are the only publicly traded company that makes clinical grade MDMA for both research and patient use today. We're actively treating patients in Canada, supporting clinical trials all over the world. And since July 1st, when Australia changed the law about treating patients in Australia, we are a 50/50 joint venture partner with Virtua Health in Cortexa, which is our Australian joint venture, providing MDMA and psilocybin to patients all around the continent of Australia. So yeah, yesterday we just released word that we completed actually the first ever shipment of MDMA and psilocybin to Cortexa. It's the first shipment ever in Australian history of MDMA and psilocybin for patient use. So this is not for a clinical trial. This is actually destined for doctors' offices and patients, first time in history.
And about this recent shipment, can you expand a little bit on what this means for your company specifically?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's another first. We've racked up a whole bunch of them for a very young company. We're the first company to ever do a patient treatment under special access with MDMA in Canada. First publicly traded company to make clinical grade MDMA. And now the first company to ship material for patient use into Australia. Look, I think it's always great to be a history sort of setter. We've tried to do it a whole bunch of times, and I think we've been somewhat successful. But I think the really good news here is for patients. This means that there is clinical grade material that is manufactured to, pharmaceutical quality standards that is now available for patients suffering from PTSD and major depression in Australia. And our friends at Cortexa, our joint venture, are ready, willing, and able to provide it to clinics all over Australia.
And what can investors expect to see moving into the first quarter?
Quite a bit, actually. So I expect that there is going to be a lot more uptake of these types of treatments in Australia. Australia is going to move very, very rapidly. There's also going to be a lot of movement in Canada where we treat patients under special access, a special access program of Health Canada, and where we expect to see quite a bit of acceleration. I don't think that investors have gotten their heads around the fact yet that the patients are being treated with these drugs right now, today, as we speak. And there's a very limited number of companies that actually have a track record of success in navigating the regulatory landmines of manufacturing, of landing this inventory globally, of treating patients, which is something that we've been very successful at, uniquely, I would say, successful at.
And thanks for your time, Nick. Again, that was Nick Kadysh, CEO of PharmAla Biotech.